quietly asking for help, and what you eat every single day could be the missing piece. So stay with me, because by the end you'll know exactly which 4 foods can support your kidneys naturally and how to use them the right way. As we age, subtle changes happen inside the body that we don't always notice at first. Energy dips, ankles swell a little more by evening, you may wake up feeling less refreshed. While many people assume this is just aging, part of the story often involves the kidneys. These 2 bean-shaped organs act like highly advanced filtration systems, cleaning your blood around the clock, balancing fluids, regulating minerals, and helping control blood pressure. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, part of the NIH, the kidneys filter about half a cup of blood every minute, removing waste and extra fluid to form urine. That's an enormous workload over time. Harvard Health Publishing also explains that kidney function naturally declines slightly with age, even in otherwise healthy adults, which makes supportive lifestyle habits even more important in later years. When kidney filtration slows, waste products and excess sodium can linger longer in the bloodstream. This doesn't automatically mean disease, but it can contribute to feelings of sluggishness or mild fluid retention. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, notes that older adults are at higher risk for chronic kidney disease, often due to high blood pressure or diabetes. Blood pressure is especially important here because the kidneys and the cardiovascular system are deeply connected. The Mayo Clinic emphasizes that high blood pressure can damage the small blood vessels in the kidneys, over time, reducing their efficiency. That's why food choices matter. Diet influences blood pressure, blood sugar stability, inflammation levels, and hydration status, all factors that affect how smoothly your kidneys operate. It's also important to understand what flushing out toxins really means in a scientific sense. The kidneys already perform detoxification naturally. They do not need extreme cleanses or harsh regimens. The Cleveland Clinic explains that the body's detox system primarily includes the kidneys and liver, and they function best when supported by balanced nutrition, proper hydration, and stable blood pressure, not by drastic juice fasts or unproven supplements. In fact, extreme dieting or excessive supplementation can sometimes stress the kidneys rather than support them. That's why credible institutions such as the NIH and NHS consistently recommend steady, sustainable dietary patterns over quick fixes. Another key factor is hydration. The NHS states that adequate fluid intake helps the kidneys remove waste products efficiently through urine. However, balance is essential. Overhydration can be as problematic as dehydration, particularly for individuals with existing kidney or heart conditions. This reinforces why general guidance must always be personalized with a healthcare professional if medical conditions are present. It's also worth noting that fatigue and puffiness can have many causes beyond kidney function, including sleep quality, medication side effects, thyroid imbalance, or heart issues. That's why no dietary suggestion should replace professional evaluation. The CDC and Mayo Clinic both stress the importance of regular checkups, especially after age 60, because kidney disease often develops silently without obvious symptoms in its early stages. The encouraging news, supported by public health organizations like Harvard Health and the NIH, is that lifestyle choices significantly influence long-term kidney health. Diets rich in whole foods, vegetables, fruits, moderate protein, and controlled sodium intake are consistently associated with better cardiovascular and metabolic health, which indirectly reduces kidney strain. Physical activity, adequate sleep, and stress management further support blood pressure regulation and metabolic balance, creating a healthier environment for kidney function. So when we talk about supporting your kidneys through food, we're not talking about a miracle fix. We're talking about reducing daily strain, improving circulation, stabilizing fluid balance, and nourishing the tiny filtering units inside your kidneys so they can keep doing their job efficiently for as long as possible. Beets are often highlighted in wellness discussions because of their naturally occurring compounds that support circulation and overall vascular health. And this connection is important when we talk about kidney support. The kidneys rely on a constant, steady blood supply to perform filtration. In fact, according to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, a division of the NIH, the kidneys receive a significant portion of the body's blood flow every minute in order to remove waste products and maintain fluid balance. When blood vessels are flexible and circulation is efficient, this filtration process operates more smoothly. Beets contain dietary nitrates, which the body can convert into nitric oxide, a molecule involved in relaxing and widening blood vessels. Harvard Health Publishing has explained that nitric oxide helps improve blood vessel function, which may support healthy blood pressure levels in some individuals. Since blood pressure control is strongly linked to kidney health, as emphasized by the Mayo Clinic, foods that support vascular function indirectly contribute to reducing strain on the kidneys. Beets are also rich in antioxidants such as betalains, the pigments responsible for their deep red color. Oxidative stress, which increases with age, refers to the imbalance between free radicals and the body's ability to neutralize them. The NIH has noted that oxidative stress plays a role in many age-related conditions, including those affecting the cardiovascular system. Because the kidneys are highly vascular organs filled with delicate filtering structures called nephrons, maintaining overall cellular health through antioxidant-rich foods can be part of a balanced dietary pattern. While no single food can repair kidney tissue, consistent intake of plant-based foods that help manage oxidative stress supports the body's natural maintenance systems. However, preparation and portion awareness matter. A common mistake is assuming that drinking large amounts of concentrated beet juice automatically enhances benefits. The Cleveland Clinic has cautioned that while vegetable juices can be part of a healthy diet, whole vegetables provide fiber and a more gradual absorption of nutrients. Fiber plays an important role in metabolic health, including blood sugar stability, which is crucial because the CDC identifies diabetes as one of the leading risk factors for kidney disease. Stable blood sugar reduces stress on the small blood vessels in the kidneys over time. Eating beets as part of a balanced meal rather than in isolation may provide a steadier physiological response. Sodium intake is another factor closely tied to kidney workload. The NHS and CDC both recommend moderating salt consumption, particularly in older adults, because high sodium intake can increase blood pressure. If beets are prepared with heavy salt or processed dressings, their potential benefits may be offset by increased sodium load. Roasting or steaming beets and pairing them with herbs, olive oil, or citrus instead of high-salt sauces aligns more closely with dietary patterns recommended by institutions such as Harvard Health, which frequently supports Mediterranean-style eating patterns for cardiovascular and metabolic wellness. It is also important to recognize that certain individuals with advanced kidney disease may need to monitor potassium intake, as noted by the NIDDK. Beets contain potassium, which is an essential mineral for nerve and muscle function, but those with reduced kidney function sometimes require individualized guidance regarding potassium-rich foods. This highlights the importance of consulting a healthcare professional for personalized advice rather than applying general recommendations universally. Overall, the scientific reasoning behind including beets in a kidney-supportive diet centers on vascular health, antioxidant support, blood pressure management, and metabolic balance. These connections are supported by credible health organizations, including the NIH, Mayo Clinic, CDC, NHS, and Cleveland Clinic, all of which emphasize that long-term dietary patterns rich in vegetables and whole foods are associated with better cardiovascular outcomes. Because kidney health is closely intertwined with cardiovascular health, supporting circulation and maintaining balanced nutrition becomes a practical, evidence-informed strategy rather than a quick fix. Blueberries are frequently described as one of the most nutrient-dense fruits, largely because of their high concentration of antioxidants, particularly anthocyanins, the plant compounds responsible for their deep blue color. From a physiological perspective, antioxidants help the body manage oxidative stress, which is the accumulation of unstable molecules known as free radicals. Over time, oxidative stress can affect tissues throughout the body, including blood vessels and delicate filtration structures in the kidneys. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, has published extensive information explaining that oxidative stress is linked to aging and many chronic conditions. While antioxidants are not a treatment or cure, diets rich in naturally antioxidant-containing fruits and vegetables are associated with better long-term health outcomes. Because the kidneys are highly vascular organs filled with microscopic filtering units called nephrons, maintaining healthy blood vessels and reducing systemic stress may indirectly support how efficiently they function. The connection between blueberries and kidney support is therefore indirect but meaningful. The Mayo Clinic explains that high blood pressure and diabetes are two of the leading contributors to kidney damage. Oxidative stress and chronic inflammation play roles in both of these conditions. Diets emphasizing whole plant foods, including berries, are commonly recommended in heart-healthy and blood sugar-supportive eating patterns. Harvard Health Publishing often highlights berries as part of dietary approaches such as the DASH and Mediterranean-style diets, which are associated with improved cardiovascular markers. Because kidney health is closely tied to cardiovascular health, supporting blood vessel flexibility and metabolic balance can reduce the strain placed on kidney filtration over time. Blueberries also provide fiber, which contributes to blood sugar stability. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, emphasizes that managing blood glucose levels is essential for reducing the risk of diabetic kidney disease. Fiber slows digestion and moderates how quickly sugars enter the bloodstream, preventing sharp spikes and crashes. Stable blood sugar levels reduce stress on small blood vessels, including those in the kidneys. Instead of consuming blueberries in sugar-heavy desserts or syrups, incorporating them into plain yogurt, oatmeal, or alongside balanced meals aligns more closely with recommendations from organizations like the NIH and NHS, which consistently advise limiting added sugars for overall metabolic health. Another important consideration is the difference between whole fruit and processed fruit products. The Cleveland Clinic notes that whole fruits provide fiber and a broader nutrient profile compared to juices, which often remove fiber and concentrate sugars. Frozen blueberries, often picked and preserved at peak ripeness, retain most of their nutritional value, making them a practical and affordable option. This is especially relevant for older adults who may have limited access to fresh produce year-round. From a nutritional standpoint, frozen and fresh blueberries offer similar antioxidant content when minimally processed. It is also necessary to address portion awareness. While blueberries are nutrient-rich, they still contain natural sugars, and balance is important, particularly for individuals managing blood sugar concerns. The NIH underscores that overall dietary patterns matter more than individual superfoods. Including blueberries as part of a varied intake of vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and whole grains reflects the broader dietary guidance consistently supported by major health institutions. Importantly, individuals with advanced kidney disease may need personalized dietary guidance, including monitoring potassium intake, as noted by the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK. Although blueberries are relatively moderate in potassium compared to some other fruits, dietary decisions should always be individualized when kidney function is significantly reduced. In summary, the rationale for including blueberries in a kidney-supportive lifestyle is grounded in their antioxidant properties, fiber content, and association with heart-healthy eating patterns supported by reputable organizations such as the NIH, Mayo Clinic, CDC, NHS, Harvard Health, and Cleveland Clinic. Rather than acting as a direct repair mechanism, blueberries contribute to an overall dietary environment that supports vascular integrity, metabolic stability, and long-term organ resilience. Cucumbers are often overlooked because they seem simple, but their high water content makes them relevant when discussing kidney support. The kidneys depend heavily on adequate hydration to perform their primary function, filtering waste products and excess substances from the bloodstream to produce urine. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, The kidneys regulate fluid balance by adjusting how much water is excreted or conserved depending on the body's needs. When hydration is insufficient, urine becomes more concentrated and waste products are less efficiently diluted. Over time, chronic dehydration may increase the risk of kidney stones or strain the kidney's filtration process. Including water-rich foods like cucumbers can gently contribute to total daily fluid intake without requiring excessive fluid consumption all at once. The NHS emphasizes that maintaining adequate hydration supports normal kidney function and helps the body remove waste products effectively. However, hydration does not mean drinking excessive amounts of water in a short period. The Cleveland Clinic notes that both dehydration and overhydration can create imbalances, especially in older adults or individuals with heart or kidney conditions. Spacing fluid intake throughout the day is generally more supportive of stable kidney workload than consuming large quantities late at night. This is particularly relevant for seniors who may experience nighttime urination disturbances. Gradual hydration during waking hours helps the kidneys operate in a steady rhythm rather than reacting to sudden fluid overload. Cucumbers are approximately 95% water, but they also provide small amounts of vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds. While they are not dense in nutrients compared to leafy greens or berries, their contribution to hydration can be meaningful as part of a balanced eating pattern. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, encourages increased intake of fruits and vegetables overall, as these foods support cardiovascular and metabolic health. Since high blood pressure is one of the leading risk factors for chronic kidney disease, as reported by the CDC and Mayo Clinic, dietary patterns that emphasize plant foods and reduce processed sodium intake indirectly protect kidney health. A common mistake people make is replacing water with sugary beverages or heavily flavored drinks. The Mayo Clinic advises limiting added sugars and excess sodium, both of which can influence blood pressure and metabolic balance. Sweetened drinks may contribute to weight gain and blood sugar instability, which over time can increase the risk of diabetes-related kidney complications. In contrast, adding sliced cucumber to plain water can enhance flavor naturally without introducing sugar or artificial additives. This simple strategy aligns with recommendations from Harvard Health Publishing, which frequently supports whole food-based dietary approaches rather than reliance on processed beverages. It is also important to consider sodium balance. Processed foods often contain high levels of salt, which can increase blood pressure and place additional strain on kidney filtration systems. The NHS recommends moderating salt intake to support heart and kidney health. When cucumbers are consumed in fresh salads rather than in salty, pickled forms, they provide hydration without excess sodium. Pickled products can be significantly higher in salt, which may counteract hydration benefits in individuals sensitive to sodium. For individuals with advanced kidney disease, fluid intake and potassium levels may require personalized management, as outlined by the NIDDK. Although cucumbers are relatively low in potassium compared to many fruits and vegetables, individualized guidance remains important in cases of reduced kidney function. Overall, the inclusion of cucumbers in a kidney-supportive lifestyle is supported by well-established hydration principles from institutions such as the NIH, NHS, CDC, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and Harvard Health. Rather than acting as a direct cleansing agent, cucumbers contribute to steady hydration, encourage reduced reliance on sugary drinks, and support dietary patterns that promote cardiovascular stability, which is deeply connected to long-term kidney health. Leafy greens such as spinach, arugula, and similar vegetables are frequently recommended in general wellness guidance because of their high concentration of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and plant compounds that support overall metabolic and cardiovascular health. The kidneys play a central role in maintaining mineral balance, including sodium and potassium levels, as well as regulating fluid equilibrium and blood pressure. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, the kidneys continuously filter blood and adjust electrolyte levels to keep internal conditions stable. When dietary patterns are heavily reliant on processed foods high in sodium and low in fiber, this regulatory system faces additional strain. Replacing highly processed items with whole plant foods, including leafy greens, aligns with nutrition guidance provided by institutions such as Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic, both of which emphasize dietary patterns rich in vegetables for heart and metabolic health. One of the key connections between leafy greens and kidney support lies in blood pressure management. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, identifies high blood pressure as one of the leading risk factors for chronic kidney disease. Leafy greens naturally contain potassium, magnesium, and nitrates, nutrients that are associated with vascular function and blood pressure regulation when consumed as part of a balanced diet. The Mayo Clinic notes that potassium helps balance the effects of sodium in the body, supporting healthier blood pressure levels in individuals with normal kidney function. Since the kidneys and cardiovascular system are closely linked, maintaining stable blood pressure reduces mechanical stress on the delicate filtering units within the kidneys, known as nephrons. Leafy greens also provide antioxidants and phytochemicals that help manage oxidative stress. The NIH has documented that oxidative stress contributes to cellular aging and plays a role in many chronic conditions. While antioxidants from food are not medical treatments, dietary patterns rich in vegetables are consistently associated with improved long-term health outcomes. The Cleveland Clinic frequently highlights plant-forward eating patterns, such as the Mediterranean-style diet, which includes abundant leafy greens and is associated with cardiovascular resilience. Because kidney function is influenced by overall vascular health, supporting the cardiovascular system indirectly supports kidney performance. Fiber is another important component. Leafy greens contribute dietary fiber, which supports digestive health and blood sugar stability. The CDC underscores that diabetes is a major contributor to kidney disease, and stable blood glucose levels are essential for protecting small blood vessels, including those in the kidneys. Fiber slows digestion and helps moderate the release of glucose into the bloodstream. Instead of pairing greens with heavy, high-sodium dressings or processed toppings, incorporating them into balanced meals with lean protein and whole grains reflects the broader nutritional patterns recommended by organizations like Harvard Health and the NHS. However, portion awareness and individual health status matter. The NIDDK explains that people with advanced kidney disease may need to monitor potassium intake because impaired kidneys can struggle to remove excess potassium from the blood. Leafy greens, especially spinach, can be relatively high in potassium. For individuals with normal kidney function, potassium-rich vegetables are generally beneficial within balanced diets. For those with diagnosed kidney impairment, dietary decisions should be guided by a healthcare professional. This reinforces the broader public health message that nutrition guidance must be personalized when chronic conditions are present. Lifestyle factors extend beyond food. The Mayo Clinic and CDC both emphasize that regular physical activity, stress management, and adequate sleep contribute to healthy blood pressure and metabolic balance. Chronic stress can elevate blood pressure through hormonal pathways, placing additional strain on kidney filtration over time. Gentle, consistent movement, such as walking, along with maintaining a regular sleep schedule, supports systemic stability. Overall, the inclusion of leafy greens in daily meals reflects evidence-based dietary patterns supported by the NIH, NIDDK, CDC, Mayo Clinic, NHS, Harvard Health, and Cleveland Clinic. Rather than directly repairing kidney tissue, leafy greens contribute to an internal environment characterized by balanced minerals, controlled blood pressure, reduced oxidative stress, and metabolic stability, all of which are essential components of long-term kidney health maintenance. The idea of creating a simple daily routine to support kidney health is grounded in long-term lifestyle science rather than short-term dietary trends. The kidneys are highly adaptive organs, but they respond best to stability and balance. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, kidney function is closely influenced by blood pressure, blood sugar control, hydration status, and cardiovascular health. This means that no single food or habit works in isolation. Instead, consistent daily patterns create the internal environment that allows the kidneys to perform filtration efficiently over time. Major institutions such as the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health Publishing emphasize that chronic conditions affecting the kidneys often develop gradually, which is why sustainable habits matter more than drastic changes. Hydration remains a foundational component. The NHS explains that adequate fluid intake helps the kidneys remove waste products through urine, but balance is essential. Spacing fluids evenly throughout the day supports steady filtration without overwhelming the system. For older adults especially, sudden large volumes of fluid late in the day may disrupt sleep and create unnecessary strain. The Cleveland Clinic highlights that both dehydration and overhydration can cause imbalances, reinforcing the importance of moderation, including water-rich vegetables, maintaining steady water intake, and limiting sugary beverages align with evidence-based hydration principles. Dietary balance also plays a central role. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, identifies high blood pressure and diabetes as leading causes of chronic kidney disease. Because both conditions are strongly influenced by diet and lifestyle, daily food choices directly affect kidney workload. Diets rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and moderate lean proteins are consistently recommended by Harvard Health and the Mayo Clinic for cardiovascular and metabolic support. Reducing processed foods high in sodium is particularly important, as excessive salt intake can elevate blood pressure and increase strain on kidney filtration systems. The NHS advises limiting salt consumption as part of heart and kidney health strategies. Blood sugar stability is equally important. The CDC emphasizes that managing blood glucose levels significantly reduces the risk of diabetic kidney complications. Fiber-rich foods, balanced meals, and avoiding excessive added sugars help maintain steady glucose levels. Instead of cycling through restrictive diets followed by overindulgence, consistent meal timing and balanced portions provide metabolic predictability, which reduces stress on blood vessels supplying the kidneys. Physical activity is another pillar of kidney supportive living. The Mayo Clinic states that regular moderate exercise supports blood pressure control, cardiovascular strength, and healthy weight maintenance. Even low-impact activities such as walking can improve circulation, which is essential because the kidneys depend on adequate blood flow to function properly. Stress management also plays a role. Chronic stress triggers hormonal responses that can elevate blood pressure. Institutions such as the NIH have documented the physiological impact of prolonged stress on cardiovascular systems, indirectly influencing kidney health. Sleep quality should not be overlooked. Research summarized by Harvard Health notes that insufficient or irregular sleep patterns can disrupt metabolic and blood pressure regulation. A regular sleep schedule supports hormonal balance and cardiovascular stability, which in turn reduces kidney strain. Importantly, all major health organizations, including the NIDDK, CDC, NHS, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and Harvard Health, emphasize individualized care for people with diagnosed kidney disease. Advanced kidney conditions may require personalized adjustments in protein, potassium, phosphorus, and fluid intake. Therefore, while general lifestyle strategies are beneficial for overall wellness, they are not substitutes for professional medical guidance. In essence, a daily kidney supportive routine is built on steady hydration, balanced nutrition, moderate movement, stress reduction, and consistent sleep. These habits reflect well-established public health recommendations and create a physiological environment that helps the kidneys function efficiently